So, you want to become a tank in Hardcore WoW and survive? Well, then you've come to the right place. Because in this video, I'm gonna share every single little detail, every secret of how I did it. And just to show you that I'm speaking from a position of authority, here is my Hardcore WoW character. This is the first Hardcore Fresh character that I made. And I just made it and never died. Cleared all the dungeons, all the raids, multiple times, never died on it. So guys, let's get straight into it. But first, let me slip into something more comfortable. Much better. First, some general tips. You're going to become the most paranoid person possible. From now on, you're going to treat every mechanic as 10 times more dangerous than it actually is. You're going to treat every pug as somebody that could potentially betray you. You're going to assume that every healer is going to disconnect. You are going to get a UPS for your computer and a failover internet connection. You're going to choose a strategy and commit to it. You are never going to second guess yourself. You are never going to panic. You're going to be the de facto leader of your group, and your actions will radiate confidence so that the will of the party does not falter when it matters. You will do everything in your power to protect your party members from harm, and only then you can expect the same from them. First of all, we both know that you won't be able to constantly respec between questing and dungeon tanking. So you're going to need a spec that can do both. You're going to go arms, picking up the 5% parry chance and tactical mastery. This is so you can intercept the loose mobs and overpower comfortably. You're going to pick up the 5% crit for threat and optionally anticipation for the 10 defense. The rest of the spec until level 40 is up to you. You are always going to tank with a one-hander and a shield, no matter what anyone else says. Your stat priority is generally going to be armor, stamina, defense, strength, agility, in that order. Below level 40, you are never going to equip anything that is not mail, and above level 40, you are never going to equip anything that is not plate.
Hey buddy, I think you got the wrong door. The leather club's 2 blocks down.
You are also going to forget everything people told you about defense skill, and you are not going to hold it in reverence. Why, you ask? One defense skill gives you 0.04% in 5 different defensive stats, adding up to 1% per 5 defense skill. 25 defense skill will therefore give you 1% dodge, 1% parry, 1% block, 1% reduced chance to be hit, and 1% reduced chance to be crit. This lowers the chance of receiving damage spikes and compounds with high armor and stamina for a massive effective health pool as far as physical damage is concerned. In this clip, you can see the difference in spike damage from Razor Gore's Thrash on a warrior that has high defense and a shield versus on a warrior that has low defense and no shield. At level 40, you're going to give up on that mount and instead get dual specialization. Traveling faster does not make you live any longer. And yes, your dedicated tank spec is going to be deep prot. For leveling, you're going to start with the following spec at level 40. Then as you progress, you're going to pick up the 5% parry, at least 2 points in tactical mastery, 5% crit, and the rest you can optionally put in defense, improve Sunder armor, or one-handed specialization. Your rotation priority is going to be Shield Slam, Revenge, Sunder armor, and then Heroic Strike if needing to dump rage. If people are being impatient, you might have to sometimes prioritize Sunder armor, as it costs less rage than Shield Slam and does not require a proc. This can sometimes be a slippery slope though. When tanking multiple mobs and struggling with threat, you are going to focus on the hardest hitting mob and then taunt the other mobs later in the fight. When you taunt, you gain as much threat as the player that is on top of the threat table has. This will make you ride off of the other player's threat for free. You are going to stick to defensive stance nearly 100% of the time. You will only enter battle stance when you want to Mocking Blow or charge, but you are mostly going to be pulling with a ranged weapon anyway. Mocking Blow is going to be used if your taunt resists, or if the mob is dangerous and you are unsure you can keep up with threat at the time. You will only enter Berserker stance momentarily, in case you need to intercept a loose mob or pre-use Berserker Rage to avoid a fear. When facing a harder hitting boss, you are going to be using Shield Block on cooldown. Usually, you will not have time or rage for Thunderclap, as the threat is low and it forces you into battle stance. If you are playing with a DPS warrior, you will make them Thunderclap and Demo Shout for you. You will never use Recklessness or Retaliation. You are going to be saving your 15-second shield wall for moments when things go wrong, so you can AoE taunt, stabilize, and stop your group from panicking. If you have loose mobs, Concussive Blow and the Revenge Stun proc are additional good options to peel the mobs from your DPS or healers. Next, you are not going to listen to anybody who wants you to tank with a 200 or dual wield. Having a shield can give you in the range of 20% physical damage reduction as well as the ability to block. Not using a shield as a tank in hardcore is straight up reckless. When pulling mobs, I want you to show restraint, discipline, and patience. You're going to use your ranged attacks to pull the mobs back and to line of sight if needed. You're going to be doing the smallest pulls possible, ideally pulling mobs one by one. At the same time, you'll be keeping up a good pace, so as to not induce impatience in your teammates. Do not skip any packs, you will eventually come to regret it. For your teammates, you're going to choose people you trust. If running with pugs, you're going to not be lazy, assemble every single dungeon group by yourself, and build a group according to the following rules. You're going to strongly prefer priest healers. The stamina buff and their amazing healing toolkit will be the most likely to keep you and the group alive. You're going to invite at least one person that can off-heal into the group. This is so they can off-heal in case the healer disconnects or decides to stop healing you for whatever reason. You're going to explain this to them when you invite them. A red paladin, feral druid, or a shaman will do, but a red paladin will be by far the best. Red paladins take a lot of flack for their low DPS, but they are an S tier class for tank and group survival in dungeons up to level 40. Devotion Aura, Blessings, Bop, Lay on Hands, Off Heals, Stun, Cleanse. All absolutely amazing abilities. Here is a clip of me playing red and saving the group by bubbling off a silence and cleansing the silence off of a healer, then off healing later. For DPS, you're going to try to avoid inviting rogues whenever possible. Most players playing rogue will be the first ones to leave you for dead in the event something goes wrong. You want people playing such classes that force them to commit to the fight rather than run. This reinforces the idea that you should have a red paladin with you even further. Warlocks are an excellent pick for their off-tanking capabilities with Voidwalker or for the imp stamina buff. Hunters are good for a similar reason, but watch out for them once they get Feign Death at level 30. They can also get Aspect of the Cheetah at level 20 and Aspect of the Pack at level 40, with which they can potentially grief you. Mages are an excellent teammate if you know that you can trust them, but also have a very easy time breaking off and abandoning you, so maybe better not risk it. Other warriors are great to have, as they can help with off-tanking, but bear in mind that you will be competing with them for loot. For your convenience, here is a DPS class tier list from the point of view of tank safety. It also takes into account how easy it is for the different classes to abandon you. Now, let's talk about loot. You are going to run every dungeon daily until you get that piece of gear that you are looking for. This list is going off the assumption that you are self-found, because you are not somebody that would trivialize the game with high-level enchants. Dead Minds. You're gonna pick up the legs from the quest. Stockades. You're going to scout the ID for the rare called Brugal Iron Knuckle. You can drop these bracers. Don't forget about the Seal of Rain. Shadowfang Keep. Commander's Crest. Also, Silver Lane's Family Seal. This ring is exceptionally good and is something that you can use until the high 50s, so definitely get this one. You can even solo that boss at level 30, it's definitely worth it. Like Fathom Deeps. Ouchie Fists. Number Gun. That's right, you're going to pick up the dual reinforced leggings for the armor and defense even though they have no other stats. You're going to keep them in your inventory at all times and swap into them where it makes sense. If you can, get a charged gear of the bear, of stamina, or optionally of eluding. Razorfen Crawl. Grab the Stonefist Girdle from the quest. The armor value on this belt is amazing for its level. Scarlet Monastery Graveyard. Get yourself an Iron Spine's Ribcage. Scarlet Monastery Armory and Cathedral. The items of interest are Gauntlets of Divinity, Scarlet Leggings, Raging Berserker's Helm, Herald's Shoulder, and most importantly, The Aegis of the Scarlet Commander. You are going to run Scarlet Minister Cathedral every single day until you get that shield. Even if it takes you a month and the mobs are grey, the shield is extremely good. If you don't have a good tanking weapon at this point, you can pick up the Sword of Serenity from the quest. Razor Fan Downs. You're going to pick up the Carapace of Tutankash. This one is very easy to get and an absolute must-have. You are also going to replace your Raging Berserker's helm with the Ice Metal Barboot of the last boss. Why? Because it's plate. Cold Rage Dagger is a good option for a tanking weapon if you're not a human, but you have rolled a human. So you are going to pass it to the rogue that you did not invite to your group. Oldaman. You're gonna pick up the Crag Fist of the Bear. The chance of this affix being rolled is actually 45.3%. If you can, also get the Archaic Stone of the Bear, of Stamina, or optionally of Eluding. Zolfarak. Big Bad Pauldrons. Maradon. Elemental Rockridge Leggings. Blackstone Ring. And do not be ashamed to replace your Aegis of the Scarlet Commander with this Shield of the Goblin Boss if nobody else needs it. Most importantly, you're going to pick up the Helm of the Mountain of Landslide, and you're going to hold it in utmost adoration. Of course, Thrashblade. This weapon is so good for its level, the slower speed doesn't even matter. And finally, Mark of the Chosen. This trinket is absolutely god tier for tanking. Notable non-dungeon quest rewards. Jaina's Signet Ring from the Missing Diplomat questline. The Fire-Hardened Hauberk from the Warrior class questline. Iron Heel Boots from Badlands. South Sea Head Bucket from Tanaris. Slugplate Leggings and Slugplate Gauntlets from Searing Gorge. Runesteel Vambraces also from Searing Gorge. And Crackplate Greaves from Angoro. Dungeons to watch out for. Wailing Caverns. The last boss here will kill you if you are low level. Outlevel it, or better yet, skip it altogether. Razor Fan Downs. You are never going to use Demo Shout here as it is going to aggro roaches which will pull extra packs. Especially on last boss trash. Oldaman. There are two extremely important things to watch out for here. First, on Ancient Stonekeeper, you're going to go into his room, clear the stone golems except the one patrolling right next to him, then walk all the way around to the other entrance. You will convince your group that this makes sense and is not much slower since you need to clear this corridor anyway. Wait for the golem to patrol outside, kill it, and only then pull the boss. This avoids the potential disaster of pulling the golem with the boss, which is extremely dangerous. On the last boss, you are not going to use the method where you pull him out of his room. You're going to be assertive about this to your party members. When confronted, you will explain that by pulling him out of his room, people can get locked out or pull the 2 elite adds that spawn once the door closes, resulting in a certain wipe. You're going to explain that the adds that he spawns in his room have less than 500 health and that the elite adds that he spawns when he hits 20% despawn when he dies. Marathon. You're going to take the long way around. You're going to clear Goblin and Crocolisk first, as well as the Hydras in his pool, and only then you're going to run back up and kill Princess. This is so you can jump down into the water and safely hardstone without aggroing anything in case something goes wrong on Princess. Sunken Temple. You're going to never set foot in this dungeon on hardcore. Now you are level 60. Your gear now looks something a bit like this. Maybe you upgraded some of the pieces with green drops, or maybe you didn't get everything along the way. But that's fine. Before running any dungeons at all at level 60, you are going to farm gold by yourself and purchase the following items of the auction house. Medallion of Grand Marshal Morris. Stockade Pauldrons. Bracers of Valor. Stone Grip Gauntlets. Belt of Valor. Boots of Avoidance. A random ranged item of Stamina. Many of these items are subject to availability and your specific situation. If it is impossible to find these items, get greens with Off the Bear affix. If you are really dedicated to survival, you can also get the Enchanted Thorium Leggings. Better yet, if ZG is out, You can get blacksmithing as your second profession alongside engineering and get the full Dark Souls set. It is much cheaper than the enchanted thorium leggings and provides an amazing amount of stamina, armor, defense, and hit. For enchants, you are going to get 5 all resistances on cloak, 100 health on chest, 9 stamina on bracers, Crusader on weapon, 7 stamina on shield, 7 strength on gloves or 15 agility when available, and 7 stamina on boots. For helmet and legs, you're going to get 100 health for dungeons or 8 stamina if you're going to raid with them. 8 stamina is worth far more than 100 health due to Blessing of Kings, Moldar's Moxie, and ZG buff. The spec you want to use for dungeons is going to look like this. Do not let anyone rope you into tanking as Fury prot or Arms prot just because they're too lazy to watch their threat or want to clear the content fast. Do not endanger your life for others people's impatience. Deprot actually has more mitigation because of the parry talent and potentially defense, and does not allow you to get comfortable with using dual wield, which, given enough time, will eventually cause you to get randomly one-shot at some point. It also has the benefit of psychologically keeping the DPS in line, as they realize they have to watch their threat, which they will not do with a Fury Prot tank. Spoiler alert, they can still pull threat of a Fury Prot tank. Now that you have farmed the best gear and enchants you possibly can for dungeons, you're going to start with the easiest dungeon you have available, run it over and over until you get all the upgrades required from that dungeon, and work your way up. First, Blackrock Depths. You want Stone Shell Guard, Golem Skull Helm, this one is very important, the Emperor's New Cape, and the Force of Will. This one is also very important. You are also going to pick up Stalwart Clutch from the quest. This will be your flex slot depending on whether you need more armor or defense. Keep in mind this breaks your Valor 2 set. While you are here, you're also going to pick up 2 Burning Essences from the Dark Offer for later for your fire resistance gear. You will thank me later. By the way, you are going to pop a Greater Stone Shield Potion every time you tank Emperor Thorison. Do not disrespect the Emperor. Next, lower Blackrock Spire. You want Blackrow here. If Diremoll's available, you can instead go pick up Satyr's Bow. It's easier to get. Do not forget to pick up the quest of the last boss though. Strut Life is the next dungeon. You don't really want any loot here, but you want to run it for the Of Love and Family quest, which will allow you to get the ornate adamantium breastplate. Optionally, you can replace the Boots of Avoidance with Master Cannonier's boots here, but don't throw the Boots of Avoidance away. You're going to be using them on melee-heavy encounters, whereas the Cannoneer boots will be used on encounters with spell damage. Strut Undead is the next one. You'll be spending a while here. You want the Band of Flash and the Stoneskin Gargoyle Cape from here. If you are not using the Enchanted Thorium leggings or the Dark Soul set, you also want to pick up the Leg Plates of Valor. This will allow you to permalock your Stalwart Clutch. Now you are ready to run Skullmans. You're going to pick up the following items. Boots of Valor, Deathbone Girdle, which you can optionally swap out for the Belt of Valor that you have, depending on the encounter. This will give you more threat. Bone Clenched Gauntlets, and the intricately runed shield. Most importantly, you're going to do the questline for Mirah Song on your first run. Be very careful when tanking Krytonos and make sure you know all the mechanics. Next on the list is Upper Blackrock Spire. You want to pick up the Warmaster Leg Guards, Brigham Girdle for yet another belt replacement, Draconian Deflector, and optionally Blackhand's Breath from the quest. This is very good for threat generation. The final instance, if it is out at the time, is Diremoll North. You want Chrome Crush's Chestplate, be careful, he slaps, Redoubt Cloak, and optionally the Counter-Attack Lodestone. Congratulations! Now you are ready to raid. Now that you are done with dungeons, it's time to modify your Deprot spec. You're going to get rid of Improved Revenge and Improved Shield Bash and use the following spec. You are also going to get this Fury Prot spec, but only for very specific bosses. Do not unnecessarily endanger yourself by running it by default. If the guild doesn't allow you to tank as Deprot, you're going to find a different guild. If there's no guild on the server that will allow you to tank as Deprot, you're going to make your own guild. Afterwards, you are going to laugh when the Fury Prot tanks of the guilds that rejected you die to unlucky streaks of crushing blows or critical hits. Preparing for raids. Here is a list of consumables you're going to need for every raid. Also, make sure that your guild has provided you with a fire resistance set and that you have at least 315 fire resistance if you're ever going to tank Ragnaros. As far as gearing in phases 1 and 2 is concerned, it is quite straightforward. You want to get Quell Serrar as soon as possible, full tier 1, Band of Acuria, and Medallion of Steadfast Might. Do not destroy Brigham Girdle, keep it. While gearing up, you want to make sure that you have at least 5% hit at all times. And yes, 6% is the cap for humans with swords, but the last 1% is nowhere near as valuable as the first 5. Therefore, in hardcore, go for the 5%, in favor of survivability. Finally, get the Helm of Wrath, Leg Plates of Wrath, and the Wrist Guards of True Flight. But do not break your tier 1 8 set bonus for this. You want to keep them for the later phases. The tier 1 8 set bonus is great for threat generation until you are able to get the block value upgrades from Blackwing Lair to make up for it. As far as the shield is concerned, you have multiple valid choices. Keep Draconian Deflector for the defense and fire resistance, or switch to Drill Border Disc for the armor and threat generation potential from the block value, or even Malistra's Defender for the insane amount of armor it has. That is, if no mana user needs it. When you get Onyxia's head, you're going to pick the Onyxia Blood Talisman. When they laugh at you for picking the Onyxia Blood Talisman over the Onyxia Fang Necklace, you're going to remember that they are not the ones tanking the dragon, you are. You are going to think less of them, as they would gladly endanger your life for their selfish purpose of parsing. You are going to remember that you're gearing up defensively like this so you can step up in situations when things don't go according to plan. Only this way, you will not hesitate in a crucial moment. You are going to remember that you're gearing up defensively so that things like this do not happen to you when the odds are not in your favor. Now, when to actually use your Fury Prot spec, you ask? Well, the conditions are as following. Either it's when the boss is a DPS race, or the boss is untauntable and you need to be second on threat while not tanking the boss yourself. In phases 1 and 2, the only concerned boss is Onyxia. The entirety of Molten Core can be tanked as D-Prot. In the later phases, examples include Veilstras and Hakar, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is still a lot that I haven't told you, like the specifics on how to clear different level 60 dungeons and raids, but guys, this video is getting far too long. Speaking of that, guys, this video took an absolutely insane amount of time to make. So, if you want to encourage me to make such content in the future, please do consider liking the video somewhere around here and subscribing to the channel. That's gonna be around here. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.